Hey everyone, today's video comes straight from my heart. Today we are celebrating Mother's Day. Mother's Day isn't something just on the calendar, but it's a day to honor the love, strength, and sacrifice that a woman has given to shape what you are today. Your mother is with you or she lives in your heart. This video is a tribute for everything she is and everything that she's given you. This video, we're going to paint this beautiful bouquet, which is screaming, Mom, I love you. It's a bougainvillea-inspired bouquet, and we're going to use vibrant colors and repaint this bouquet that I painted a couple of years ago and made it into a greeting card. But we're going to go ahead and paint this again, and I hope you enjoy this video. It's a very simple one as long as you follow exactly how I paint, and if you don't worry, you're going to get great results because it's easy, it's loose style, and it has very few colors. So without further ado, let's get painting. That's a vibrant looking card and displaying the beautiful effects of watercolor and Mom secretly tucked in those flowers. I love to paint from inspirations of natural elements around my house, and most of my paintings will always have some bright colors and lush greens, and that's the way I love to paint. If you like something more muted, go for it, but most of my paintings are vibrant. I like to play around with it in loose style. So here I am sketching out just the outlines in a very light sketch, just making sure where I'm going to mark the flowers, and then sort of having an idea where I'm going to paint the stems, and the leaves are actually done as I paint because I really don't plan where I'm going to put the leaves, but I make sure that I have enough white space that I can tuck in those leaves and make it more nice and full. So I have some basic colors here. I have a warm red, I have a pink which I wanted to use, which was the bright pink, but I realized the tube had dried out, so that didn't bother me. I just picked up the bright pink from Holbein. If you have any pink, that's fine. What I'm trying to do here is use some cooler reds and some warmer reds, letting them blend together with that light pink. So it's going to just be a mix of everything, but at the same time I'm going to keep it a little distinct without actually creating a uniform flat painting. The idea over here is to not use too many colors, but I am going to use a darker red, as I mentioned, a cooler red. I'm going to use predominantly the sap green for inking in those leaves. The sap green is going to turn a little bit of yellow into a yellow hue, where I'm going to add a little bit of lemon yellow. I'm also going to mix a little bit of burnt sienna to give a warmer green, and I'm using a little bit of blue, cerulean blue, and I had a little bit of the ultramarine blue that I'm going to mix to get all those different kinds of greens. So you're going to see how I go about this whole painting. It's definitely something anyone beginning with watercolors can also achieve. I agree, the movement of the brush has been used way more by artists. So as a beginner you may not have that movement, but definitely something that you can achieve as you practice and commit to practicing with some kind of painting every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. With watercolors, we always go light to dark. So I am laying down the pink in a lighter value for those blooms. For the entirety of this painting, I would say I use the wet on dry technique. For someone who doesn't know what this method is, well, essentially I am using a wet brush which has been loaded with water and paint, which we call a mix, and laying it directly onto dry paper. That's exactly what I'm doing. If you want, you can also wet the area that you're going to paint the flower and drop in those inks over there. When I say ink, well, I mean the paint. But the effect of the wet would be different from the wet on dry. I decided I wanted to do the wet on dry because we have more control as we paint. You also will notice that I'm switching between using these brushes for particular elements on the flowers itself. The brush that I'm using right now has no spine, but at the same time it can hold a lot of water. So usually spineless brushes are able to hold way more water than those which are really synthetic and have a spring to them. They both render different kinds of effects on the flowers. As you can see, there's more control when we use a brush which has a spring to it. And this one that I'm using right now is a synthetic blend and has the capacity of giving you control over what you're painting. So it's a combination of colors, it's a combination of brushes, and the style is really loose. I don't want to do anything that's going to be really constricting those paints within shapes. This is actually also inspired by this beautiful plant which is called the bougainvillea. It has almost paper-like petals. It's bright, it's feathery, it's light, but very striking. So now I'm going to add a little bit of water to create the wash of the greens, and here I'm mixing in those little browns into the sap green, and much later in the painting you will see that I'm actually using the yellow for the highlights or the pop in color with a lighter green. I love to play around with my greens because it's amazing to see how the greens just change their values and they change their hues, shades, tones, everything, even the textures, when you combine just a little bit of brown or even a little bit of black or a blue. So just playing around with this entire painting. It's a stunning painting, and I'm sure with trial and error you can achieve something really as close to this or even better. So when you let your brush do certain things, your mind tells you certain things, and then the rest of it is all left to the way the water and the paint react with each other and settle on the paper. That's the beauty of watercolors. So you were able to get light values, midtones, and dark values. And during the painting, I'm also going to give few minutes of interval because I want the paints to dry. I don't want everything to mix and merge and create a blob. So roughly keeping the entire bunch of this whole composition closely knit, but at the same time I'm not going to the edge of the paper, nor am I filling in all the white spaces that you see, because I love the white spaces. It's loose because we want everything to be loose. We don't want everything to be tight. The looser it is, there's more beauty to it. It makes your heart bloom as the flowers have bloomed on the paper. So if you are struggling with your style and want to really loosen up, I would say practice this a couple of times before you actually make a final card for your mother or that special woman in your life. It's also honoring yourself for doing all the great things that you're doing, because you're part of someone's life. You're creating great value, great memories, and you're special. You deserve this time painting, giving yourself a little respite from the everyday routines that all of us are going through with managing day-to-day chores and just the mundane stuff. So just when you sit down and paint, you will realize your whole mind is going to calm down. It's very meditative. But this doesn't come just like that. You have to really practice, hone in on that meditative practice, because only then you can really touch the benefits of painting. Don't worry about how the painting is going to turn out, because it is going to be amazing. It is your style. It is what you've done. Everything is beautiful. And stop judging yourself. Do not compare yourself with anyone else's painting, because you're not just painting because you want to sell it or for monetary purposes or trying to have it in a gallery. You're doing it for yourself. So there are several benefits that come out of painting. By sitting for a few minutes, you're enjoying the moment of peace and calm. So as you can see, I've almost finished the upper portion of the flowers. Now these are the blooms that are on the higher side of the sheet of paper, but I'm going to add in the tinier little blooms. And there's also a surprise, and the surprise is going to add a little bit of blue. A splash of blue is something that is my signature style. If I'm using a lot of warm colors, I like a splash of the cooler colors, especially the blue. And if I'm doing a lot of blue flowers, then I like to add a little splash of warmth by adding an orange or a red or even a yellow in the entire floral composition. So it really attracts the eye. It gives a burst of flavor. It gives a burst of happiness for the viewer or the recipient. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the tinier blooms before I actually use the entire other spaces for the leaves. So keep watching, and if you are painting along with me, make sure that you are in control of what you do. You can always rewind, watch it, pause, but paint something and let me know what you think. I'm here to inspire you to paint without too much of fuss. That's why I really don't give you the colors and the schemes. As long as you know that you need a red, you need a pink and some greens, you're good to go. I love the combination of red and pink because they create this unique blend of soft and boldness in any painting. So try it out if you haven't tried blooms with red and pink, and you'll be surprised how it turns out. Similarly, you can use a combination of blue and purple and see how it turns out, and let those colors bleed one into another, and you'll be surprised to see how attractive it turns out. So let me get on with the rest of the painting, as I'm going to use a little bit of burnt sienna and raw umber for the stems. So at this point I have picked up my thin liner brush because I do not want too thick of a stem or stems to appear on the painting. This has to be delicate because we have a beautiful contrast that's happening between the bold flowers and these delicate stems. I'm using a combination, as I said, of burnt sienna and burnt umber. If you have Van Dyke brown or you have any other brown, go ahead, use that. And if you have yellow ochre, it also works for this. So make sure that the colors are not uniform. You need some lighter yellows, darker browns to create that effect that I'm actually trying to do here. And it's all tied together naturally with no ribbon, and the little tag that's going to actually stick out and hang and say I love you is also going to be really something that looks natural. If you're struggling with that, you can always make an outline before you embark on that, but it is pretty simple. I haven't really written anything with too many letters. I kept that really simple as long as you can see that. I also decided not to include the mom in the higher area, on the area tucked in within the flowers. I decided I'm going to write it out on the right side in red. Now it's time for the leaves. So most of the paints have settled, they're dry, and I'm using the lemon yellow back into my green paint bowl, and I'm going to lightly mix those greens. If you have green mixed with blue, that's fine. You're not going to separate anything. Just add this in. Believe me, everything works beautifully together. And once you cultivate this habit of mixing on the go intuitively, it's going to change the way you paint. That's how you have to enjoy painting without too much planning. Hey, come on, it's just something that you're going to enjoy. So don't really stress yourself out about the colors. mix and see, and gradually you will be a great master with creating paintings on the go, mixing colors intuitively, and you're going to enjoy the process much more than a really rigid, super planned out layout, planned out colors. The effects are going to be different, but if this is something that you love, the loose style, this is the way I work, and probably you're going to get some great tips and follow along, and you'll also be able to achieve something as close to this or even better. So there we have it. The painting is almost complete. Just giving some of these leaves a center line with a brown, and for some of the green leaves I like to use a red. Try to include some veins just randomly, and you will love the entire effect. As I said, super easy. Keep it loose and make sure that you have the mom in an attractive position on the paper, that it pops and somebody knows it's a card for mom. That's how I've inked the mom with a bright red. You can always go back there and add the blues for the shadows, but otherwise the painting is complete. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have painted and shown this loose style bouquet to you. And if you're doing it in a smaller sheet of paper, 5x7, double the size, fold it vertically, and then you have a great greeting card that mom is going to really be delighted to see. And there we have it. So I hope you enjoyed the whole video, and please do subscribe. Happy Mother's Day, and you can treat yourself by painting this for yourself. So more videos, but thank you for watching and have a great day.